Making lyrics that hit and stick with people is something we all want to do, but it takes more than just technically making sense. And in this video today, I'm going to show you 3 things you need to think about when you're writing your lyrics that will guarantee your lyrics alone will stick with the listener. That way, your music is just going to compound the effects with it, and your song is going to stick with people for a long time. When you just worry about making it make sense, the songs themselves are probably not going to stick with the listener. They have way less of a chance of sticking with people. And you need things to stick with people, to resonate with people and stick in their heads so that they remember you. There's a lot of bands emerging every day fighting for people's headspace, right? Fighting for attention. And you want to make sure your songs stick in the heads of new listeners, just like songs stick in your head from your favorite bands and artists. And when you do that, instead of people forgetting your songs one ear and out the other, and you not having really any stay power in their head, you are going to gain more listeners that stick with you for the long haul, which in turn will grow your music career a lot stronger than just showing your music to the masses and hoping it sticks long enough with a certain amount of people. So if you make memorable songs that stick with people, you're going to get a greater following, bottom line, which means more success as a band or an artist for your musical career. And we all want that, right? So today I'm going to show you 3 things that you need to think about when you're writing your song to make sure that you get there. Without any further ado, my name is Brandon with Megatonic Audio. Let's get into it. Now, real quick before we get into the video, if you're not already subscribed or haven't hit the like button on this video, please do so. That helps me get to more people like you to talk about stuff like this. Make sure you leave a comment below with your thoughts. I'm trying to build this channel up, and I would greatly appreciate it. All right? Thanks. Songwriters that have lyrics that really stick with people, like John Prine, Chris Cornell, Noel Gallagher, they all have methods and ways of thinking about songwriting that ensure that their songs are going to land, right? And if you think about these 3 things I'm about to talk about, your songs are going to land just like them. Don't let the big names scare you or make you think, oh, I can never write something like they do. Yeah, you can. You can. And I can tell you right now that if you implement what I'm about to say, your songwriter skills as a lyricist are going to multiply greatly. You're going to 10x your skills, and you're going to be a lot more confident writing your songs. And the more you do this, the faster you'll get at it. And you can then have so many songs to sift through, you just pick the best ones. And then, you're coming out with an album, you've cut a few of them, and you've trimmed the fat, and you only have the best ones left. And then you've just got a whole album of solid songs, which is exactly what you should aim for anyway. You shouldn't just barely write enough songs to meet the quantity requirement to call it an album instead of an EP. You need to write a bunch of songs, as many as you can, and pick the best ones. But here's how to make the best ones. So, number 1, the first thing you need to think about is your metaphors or your similes or whatever you choose to use. Anytime we use similes or metaphors, which most people do in like almost every song, you need to make sure that the metaphor or simile is something that most people are going to understand. So whatever you're trying to say or describe with your metaphor or simile, use a simile that people are going to get when they hear it. Try not to be too personal about whatever you're trying to say with your metaphor, and use a metaphor related to, I don't know, something so niche that most people aren't going to get what you're even getting at because they don't understand the process you're referring to in your metaphor. Or as a simile, you're using a subject that is not well known. A good example of using good similes is in, what's that song called? Ironic, Alanis Morissette. Listen to all of those similes that she talks about, and every one of them hits home. You know what she's trying to say, and she's using, they're specific similes, but they're not so niche that the average person isn't going to know what you're talking about. Even as a kid, hearing those lyrics, I knew what they meant, and with the theme of the song being irony, ironic, and being, of course this happens to me, of course things keep happening this way, or whatever. The only one I think I didn't get was the a black fly, and it's like a black fly in your Chardonnay. I didn't know what a Chardonnay was when I was little. So that would be the only thing. But even as a little kid, everything else made sense in the song, right? Like the man that waited his whole life to take a flight, and as the plane crashed down, he thought, well, isn't this nice? Anybody can get that. Even if you've never been in a position, where you're up for a promotion and you got to fly to headquarters, and whatever that situation was, you understand the feeling that man was going through. So make sure your similes and metaphors are easily interpretable. That's a better way to say it. Easily interpretable. And as long as it is true and accurate to what you're trying to convey in the song, it's going to stick with people. If they can interpret what you're saying and it matches the subject matter really well, you're golden. It's really going to stick with people, okay? That point alone will definitely 10x your songwriting, okay? But even before you can think of good similes and metaphors, or anything for that matter, any kind of good line, right? In general, when you're writing, you just want to think of a good line. What is a good, memorable, succinct line? When you're having trouble figuring out what's a good line to write about this situation, about this thing I'm dealing with, or about this thing that the theoretical character in the song would be dealing with, when you're having trouble thinking about coming up with a good line in general, you just need to talk about the song aloud. Yep. So number 2 is speak it aloud. Talk to somebody. It helps if somebody's in the room and not just saying it out loud to yourself, because you don't have to explain to yourself what you mean very hard. But as soon as you put somebody else in the room with you, when you have to really explain what you're feeling and what you're trying to convey, you're going to think of a lot of different similes and metaphors, for example. You're going to think of a lot of different similes, metaphors, different situations, different anecdotes, different everything to convey what you're trying to say, so that the person that's listening to you understands exactly what you mean. And if you're trying to explain all that, you'll think of things that you'll be like, hey, actually, that's a line right there. Or they might tell you, hey, there's a line in that, in what you just said when you described yourself as this, or when you describe that person's actions as this. That's a line. Put that down. But if you say the point of your song or what you're trying to do out loud just to yourself, you're probably not going to have those epiphanies, okay? Those revelations aren't going to roll out as much as you'd want them to. But then you got your lines, right? You just keep talking, keep coming up with stuff. Good lines yourself or with somebody. You got a bunch of them written out. Now you need to think about where you're going to put them. So that brings me to number 3, strategic placement of your lines. Strategic placement, what do I mean by that? Well, in music in general, you have dynamics and contrast in your song. You have one section leads to another. If you study some of your favorite artists and bands, I'm sure you'll notice that a lot of things build into each transition, and there's always this movement and tug of war between tension and release, and fast and slow, even if you do tempo changes or double time or half time. And the way that works, you're placing certain types of sounds before or after certain other types of sounds, right? So you make sure the flow is good of your music, going from one emotion to the other, or one intensity level to the other, loudness, again, tempo, key change, all those things. And when you strategize where to put everything in a song, it has a huge effect on the flow of the song and how good it sounds, right? If it sounds off or all over the place, or if it sounds like, man, this is a masterpiece. It's the same way with your lyrics. You can really mess up a line's potential to stick with somebody, to stick with the listener, if you put it in the wrong spot. And usually you save the best line for last. And I don't mean last in the song, I mean last in that section that you're doing. So if you got a really good line, let's say your best line in the song that really sticks it to somebody would go, let's say in a verse chorus situation. At the end of the verse, it would be your last line because you build up to it. You've got some good lines before it, but your best one is about to really hit them. And then when they have that feeling, the listener, when they have the feeling of hearing like, oh, that's that line, man, I get that. And then the chorus hits, right? You're making sure you're kind of manipulating the emotions of the person listening and the flow of their emotions to, wow, that's a good line. And then boom, you get hit with a chorus, and then it multiplies that feeling for them, which the first time somebody gets that sticks with people a long time. It's like a drug, you know, the first time you try the drug is always the best time you have it. And then after that, you're just chasing it, but you never forget that first time. And songs stick with people like that too. I remember first time I heard a song from a band. Let's see, which one should I say? Nirvana. Everybody knows Nirvana, right? The first time I heard Nirvana, I remember exactly where I was, what I was doing. I remember how old I was. I think I was 10. And I heard Smells Like Teen Spirit, and that was it. I was always chasing that feeling of trying to find the next Smells Like Teen Spirit, but also I just kept listening to that song. I still every now and then listen to that song. I was 10 and now I'm 31 at the time of recording this video. And that song really stuck with me. And that song doesn't even mean anything. Some of those lines seem like they might, and some of them are really catchy, but the overall song narrative, it doesn't mean anything. Kurt Cobain has said this himself many times. Many of his songs are like this. Lyrics are an afterthought. And I have a video on how to make awesome lyrics, even when you have nothing to say. I have a video you guys can check out that's really fun about just how to make really awesome lyrics that don't necessarily mean anything. But he's got a catchy line in it that I find it hard. It's hard to find. Oh, well, whatever. Never mind. And just saying that out of context, especially if you've never heard the song, that sounds stupid. And like, why does that stick with you? But hearing it in the song, something about it. But yeah. And just imagine what you can do if you, one, think of better similes, metaphors, better lines, and two, where to place those lines, that was number 3. Number 3 was where to place those lines. And 2, make sure you come up with great lines by speaking about your song and trying to explain it in every possible way you can to somebody else so that you inevitably come across really good ways of talking about the feeling you're trying to convey or the subject matter. You put all that together, it's going to be way better than a song that doesn't mean anything. This is going to stick with somebody on a lyrical level, and then you move on to the music. Then you move on to the pre-production of like, how fast is this song going to be? What's the tempo are we locking in? What's the key? What's the best key for this song? What mode is it in? All the good stuff that you can nerd out about musically is only going to add to what you've got lyrically. And if you've got this lyrically, those 3 principles, if you wrote a song thinking about all that, you're golden. This song is going to be awesome. And I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Please let me know in the comments if this helped you, if you like this kind of content. Also, don't forget to hit the like button for me. That helps this video with YouTube's algorithm. That helps the video get shown to more people, and I'm trying to build this channel as much as I can. And speaking of building the channel, please subscribe if you like this, and share it, tell your friends, take to the streets. And also, if you're a band, musician, artist, whatever, and you have songs that aren't quite there, or you just want to work with a producer to make sure your songs get to the professional level. I'm a producer here at Megatonic Audio, and there is a link in the description to go through a short questionnaire to, figure out where you're at with your music and where you want to be, what genre, if you've done it before, if you haven't, all that good stuff. Then we can go from there, see if we're a good fit to work with each other. And if you're not a good fit, I'll let you know. I won't waste your time. But that's all I got. I'm rambling again. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I hope it really helps your songwriting. Again, let me know if it does. And especially if you record something after seeing this video and using those 3 things I talked about. I would really love to hear how it turns out. So anyways, y'all be good. That's it for the video. Thanks.